guys awake? You should be. All sorts of stuff going on today. I can't even keep up. More news being dropped in the wire before we go live than I even had scheduled. But let's take a moment to enjoy the beauty of that photo before we talk about the horrendous day before us. That is a gorgeous shot of Astoria, Oregon, looking over at Washington, and that is the Astoria Bridge, or whatever they call it. That's the Washington, Oregon Bridge, the big old long-ass bridge that goes across. It's huge. That's the first, if you've never been there, as a person from Colorado, when I first went to Oregon and saw this, your jaw drops. I was used to the Platte River, Colorado, which in the 80s dried up to a trickle. And by the 90s, 2000s, this is I don't know how long across the Columbia River is here at Astoria. It's basically at the mouth of the ocean, right? It's where the Columbia dumps into the ocean. And it's just amazing. It's beautiful. This picture was sent to us by Doug Kryskalla, who emailed me and had some very kind things to say. Thank you, Doug, for that beautiful, beautiful picture. Good morning, everybody. Take pictures of where you are. Take pictures of the beauty that you have around you in your portion of the planet, your portion of our womb, which is really what it is. I didn't get a chance to tell you that, Markus, tell you about the whole, we were talking about cocaine earlier, Markus and I were, and you know, I got a Scarface relation to that I was thinking of. But that's totally a side thing. I don't even have I am so unprepared today, everybody. I've been very distracted by some things going on. But good morning. What do we got here? I'm opening up the chat here. Let me get that going. I got Markus. Markus, how you doing, my friend?
I'm fine, and yeah, you should be fine too today. And as usual, good morning, America.
Thank you, Markus. Doug made a comment that Markus should never stop saying that. He loves it when Markus says good morning, America. I do too. I think it's good coming from a German. Good morning, America. Hello. It's it's a little bit more than just saying hi in a nice way, isn't it? It's just a little tinge of sarcasm in there.
Come on.
Good morning, everybody. Stock and Soul and Paula and Bev and Steve and Louise and Eco and Froze, Brad. Who else is in here? Lots of people. Good morning. Good morning. Joanne. Thank you. People keep sending me wonderful things, wonderful stuff. Before we get into the breaking news, which you all probably have seen by now, I think CNN has a giant boner over this. The rest of the news stations are following. Wolf Blitzer is getting the Situation Room ready for the next round of wars and graphics, and he's all excited. We just dropped our largest penis extension on Afghanistan. That is non-nuclear penis extension. Some bomb called the mother of all bombs, of course, because men have to name their penis extensions, names that they find cool. We did this, my guess is some show of dick size, right? Look, this is the biggest dick we have before we go nuclear. You don't want to touch the one that glows in the dark, right? Anyway, moving on, because that happened, and I'm not going to give it any more press than that, and we're just really itching to be attacked. We just really want somebody to attack us on our soil. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I don't think it's going to be troops. It's going to be a terrorist attack, and we're going to condemn the terrorist actions while we continue to do things like dropping 21,000-pound dick extensions on Afghanistan. But moving on, thank you, Joanne, for sending me this lovely letter and some goodies. I keep forgetting. Oh, what happened there? I hit a button. It disappeared me. My bad. I keep forgetting to talk about these buttons. All right. I got people sending me nice buttons. Holly sent me, or I saw Holly with Charles. They were at the Democratic meeting. They're not even in my county. They were at the Lynn County Democratic meeting just to be there as Democrats, and they're actually part of Benton County. So I thought that was really cool. But Holly gave me these two buttons. I got this. She made these, by the way. So there's that one. There's the design. She made the design. I mean, we've all seen the Dem Enter look there, but she made that particular design. And this one is really cool. Let me hold it straight up. Her father actually made that in the 60s. And I thought that was a really cool one. And then Joanne sent me several buttons. We have this one. Wait a minute. There we go. President of the United States, seal of the president. That's accurate. Bernie there. Look there. You really, just the way they did it like that. It kind of looks like the presidential plates. You know, like the China that you'd hang on their wall that you order online for like $19.95, and then you get a second plate for free. It just kind of looks like that. But that's cool button. Here's the first intelligence agency. It's got like the Earth in a time, like a sand clock, whatever you call that. It's very cool. Thank you so much. You guys send me such nice things. You're really sweet. And Doug sent me a nice letter. Talked about how he really. I would say that so many of you have said, "Thank you for broadcasting the rallies," and I'm just glad people remember that we broadcast the rallies because, we're doing that again. I'm excited that Bernie's going on tour again, and I'm thinking about purchasing a second solo. Charles Mon and I were talking about it. The price on the solo unit is what Scott uses, right? LiveView, which is a company that was very, very generous and gracious and worked with me on pricing and got me the first unit, an LU500, almost 2 years ago when Bernie had first started. We were trying to get Bernie airtime. We were trying to get Bernie upstream. And we were being blacked out, blacklisted. It was costing him, when we were talking to people behind the scenes with the campaign, they were being told it was $3,000 just to have an internet uplink. And they didn't have that. They had to pay $3,000 everywhere they're going. And you remember, he was doing like 3-4 rallies a day in some of these places, right? So LiveView worked with me, our volunteer group, to purchase an LU500. And then after that, LiveView solo unit. And I've had that solo unit, and they've been, it's still going. Scott has it, but I think I want to get another one for the West Coast. There's a lot of stuff going on out here, and the cost is now a lot less than it was. Now it's $1,400, and I think I could crowdfund that. I think between people in town, and that's not, and then the monthly cost of the streaming is I can cover that already. I've got that in monthly expenses covered. So I think maybe we'll get another unit so we can broadcast a lot more rallies, because that really was the best way to keep America inspired and moving. And, don't you think, Marcus? I mean, it's really what was the driving force behind us still being here today.
Yes, exactly. And great idea. I love it. And let's Bernie rock.
Yeah, let's do it. So I don't know. Would you guys help me with that if I create another Indiegogo campaign to raise like $2,000, and then we take that, get a LiveView unit, get a travel case for it. We've already got good cameras, actually, and a couple extra things, and then I think that's what I'm going to do. Were you having a problem with broadcast? I'm seeing you guys. We got streaming problems, guys.
Do we?
I don't know. I'm just seeing what the fuck and spinning wheel. But that's right. Yeah, I see you're going back up here. You guys are just talking about Trump and what's going on. Oregon officials think they've found high levels of cancer-causing chemical in the air near Lebanon battery parts maker, but a judge won't let them say a word about it. Oh, lovely. That's nice. That's nice. All right, let's move on into the actual. There's a lot of actual stories we've talked about today. Thank you, Doug, for that beautiful picture. And, it's really nice. Last night, we had Chad, and he talked with Michele Horne. It was a good conversation. Michele is with Dem Enter, and a lot of you were able to join us for that. Thank you so much. We talked with her about what's going on and what they're trying to do. And just so you guys know, for the record, Chad is a member of Dem Enter, and I'm not a member of their network, but I agree with take over the Democratic Party. And Michele said, the word take over was a little harsh. I'm all about take over. It's not harsh. We have a failed leadership within the Democratic Party. Every one of them needs to boot. Every one of them needs to get the fuck out, and we need to take over. Take over. Not politely sit down and compromise. Take the fuck over. That's what I want. I want a hostile takeover. I don't need violent. I just want to understand we're done with their bullshit. We're done compromising with their losing bullshit. There's not going to be compromise with taking corporate money. There's not going to be any compromise with bending over to lobbyists. There's not going to be compromise. That's what I want. So we'll see. I want to be a little hardline now, but it was a great conversation. Chad did a wonderful job. We really thank Michele for being on. And hopefully we'll talk to them again, because there's a lot more going on with the Dem Enter process. And as the Democratic Party takes power, which it is taking power in states, we've got the GOP really freaked out about midterms, right? They're starting to pour money into states they weren't giving us. They were like, we got Kansas. No, wait, we don't have Kansas, right? So we got some good things going on. Oregon is being invaded by corruption. I know, and that's why we've got to fight it. I know people in the DOJ, it is out of control. Yeah. Hey, Ice Wafer, Chili Love, Chronic Farmer. Hey, how you doing, Chronic? We're going to talk about doing a weed show today. Talk about that. All right. First, let me get back to my card. I'm totally off track. The whole massive dick extension thing dropping on Afghanistan really threw me for a curve this morning. There's been so many other things that have happened. I added like 4 stories this morning to what I had done. I was done with this last night, really. So, coming up, we have Katie Tillman with Revolution Funding. That's going to be on Saturday. Join me for that. The big show with Markus and Laura, and we'll have Katie, and we'll talk about what Revolution Funding does. It actually does something very essential, very important, that I'm really surprised that the larger Democratic leadership, I am surprised that I'm not. I'm surprised that the progressive faction of the national Democratic leadership hasn't done more in the social media regard. Let's put it that way. Right? I mean, Bernie had the most active progressive social media force in the primaries, and it was obvious because we were doing it, right? But the Democratic Party on a national level and at a state level really blows in terms of its social media approach. And we could be kicking ass left and right. And so I'm excited about what Revolution Funding is doing, because they are providing social media marketing to politicians, to 99% politicians, right? Bernie-type politicians, not establishment toolboxes. Good morning, Jonathan. How you doing? JJ, how you doing? Yep, take over there. The DNC yeah, I want to take over. Take over. Hostile. Yes. Anyone see that black box vid? Both sides controlled by big money won't change. When you remove the people that are controlling, yes, it changes. We've seen that happen over and over again in our country. So that's how it works. That's how the Tea Party took over the Republican Party, right? They changed it. When the Democratic Party and the Republican Party shifted sides between Lincoln era and today, they did that by people coming in and out of the party. That's how it works. So yes, you can change the party by changing the people in the party. That's what changes the party. So you can take the money out of the party and replace it with people's money. Still going to need money. So to say it can't be done is to ignore the entire history of our actual political process, because it's happened over and over and over again. All right? Let's just make that clear. Hey, Melissa H., how you doing? Dewey Bueno, how you doing? We will change it, damn it. You have to step over the Dems who won't move forward. More than step over, Denise, I think we have to kick aside, condemn, blame. Some of them need to be imprisoned, okay? I'm not saying be violent. I'm just saying a lot of these Dems in power need to be in jail. A lot of them are war criminals. Hillary Clinton is a war criminal. Barack Obama is a war criminal, quite frankly. Fucking Nobel Peace Prize holding war criminal. And that already is backwards fucked up world. And now we live in a world where Mike Judge is idiot. Mike Judge is trending. You guys know Mike Judge. We're talking about Mike Judge, Markus and I. He's the creator of Beavis and Butthead. And Markus knows Beavis and Butthead, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, you guys know Beavis and Butthead. He's trending right now. I haven't even read the full article about why he's trending. I guess he did an interview or something. But Mike Judge wrote Idiocracy. And we are sitting in that. We are beyond the scope of the script of Idiocracy. Because instead of Gatorade coming out of the fountains, we have poison. And we have Donald Trump as our fucking president. with a gang of idiots that are actually dumber than the people in office in Idiocracy. The people in office in Idiocracy had a moral. They were actually halfway decent people. Think about it. We are in a situation worse and more far-fetched than Mike Judge scripted in a comedy called Idiocracy. That's more frightening than anything else. It just really, really is. Welcome to the 21st century.
You know what's really worrying is about all this is when you read that Donald Trump gets advice from by Xu Jinping from China about the situation in North Korea, and after 10 minutes he says, "Okay,
Yes.
I got it now. Things are much more difficult than I expected."
I have that article. I know it's.
There is a direct rival of America, and he explains this rival the world. And he says after 10 minutes, "Okay, yes, it's difficult." This is wow. This is wow, and I think it fits perfectly to the Idiocracy movie you mentioned.
Idiocracy. There it is, right there. After listening for 10 minutes, I realized it's not so easy. The leader of the largest terrorist organization on planet Earth is just now discovering what diplomacy is like and how working with other big countries goes. He's a fucking moron. Jesus. These are quotes. These are quotes, people. This is not made up shit.
Yes.
This is not part of a movie script. Yes, the
I
bomb
think
was
he twittered it.
What, Marcus?
I think he twittered it.
Yeah, did he? Was it a tweet?
Yeah.
No, it's...
Doesn't make it better, right?
After listening for 10 minutes, I realized it's not so easy, the president told the Journal. He told some journal. I felt pretty strongly that they had a tremendous power over North Korea, but it's not what you would think. It's not what you would think. That's
no, nobody could imagine healthcare would be so complicated. Nobody would imagine North Korea is so complicated.
Breaking news. The President of the United States has discovered that his job is much more difficult than he expected it to be. It's a lot harder to actually be the President of the United States than it is to be a rich asshole CEO who does nothing. Right? That's yeah. Being a warmonger takes brains. I mean, Obama wasn't stupid. Obama knew how to appease the people and be a warmonger and make it look like he was doing it for peace. That is skill. Trump has zero skill. He's a fucking used car salesman at best, a turn and burn salesman. And this, what? Go ahead.
And it shows another thing, you know. Why doesn't he get advice by his military advisors?
Well, he does now.
He seems maybe now, but I have the impression he's completely isolated from anyone who could be a good advisor for him.
Well, yes, he was. The whole Bannon leaving and flipping on four of his major policies. Trump was schooled in the last week. All right, somebody kicked him in the nutbag hard because he just decided that NATO is no longer obsolete. NATO's great now. Loves NATO.
Yes.
So the military-industrial complex came in and said, "Come on." Right? They
And I see when he said that NATO is not any longer obsolete, alarm sirens are ringing in my head. I can imagine he's now trying to get NATO on his side to do something stupid.
Of course he is.
Syria, or be it not North Korea. And good luck, Trump. I don't think that NATO will follow him, or not the majority. I doubt that Europe would follow him into such an adventure.
Well, I haven't even seen the reactions yet on the whole giant bomb. You know, that's just like breaking news. So I don't know what the reaction is from NATO and everybody else on that action. You know, but it's basically a look what we've got. Bring it on. It's a total dick comparison. The United States started it. Right? Here's our biggest without going glow in the dark. Trump hears it on Fox News and tweets it within an hour and gets reported on as news. I know. Battle of dicks and assholes as usual, Julie Love says. Very much so. Or maybe Bannon kicked him in the nutback. Bannon's been banned. Bannon is kicked to the corner. He's been sent to the corner for being a bad boy. And Blazer Boy is now running things, right? Kushner, little Blazer Boy.
Yep.
Little fuck. Yeah, what are you guys saying? We arm the rebels, both sides. Oh, yes, we do we? We give. This is another thing, right? Obama was happy just selling weapons to everybody and saying, "You go ahead and use them in your wars. I've got some hoops to shoot, right? Some peace to make through blowing up things." Here's the. I got it. This is fantastic. Some good memes lately. Good memes that I've been missing on the memes. We're gonna go a little off track. I love this one. This is deep. Men like war. They do not hold much sway over birth, so they make up for it with death. Unlike women, men masturbate by shedding other people's blood. Lucy Ellman. I found that appropriate.
True.
This one, though,
True.
This one says it best. Bombing for peace is like fucking for virginity.
Old one.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that one. And this... That is America right now. There's just a lot in that picture. It's just a lot. We can change out the screws. It's time to go Phillips. Yeah. What, Jilly Love? This is hard. I gotta go. I feel sick. What are we talking about? What I just read?
What?
Not. I said menstruate. Did I say man? I said menstruate. Did I not say menstruate?
You did?
Okay.
Nothing bad about it, in my opinion.
No. You guys. All right, whatever. I thought it was good. Anyway, moving on. There's actual shit we have to talk about. Lots. Too much stuff. Way too much stuff. Okay, am I finally at the intercept thing? What? What did I miss?
I think I'm not sure anymore. Maybe you said masturbate. I don't know. I didn't get it.
Well, holy shit! If I said masturbate, that's even funnier.
This would have changed the context, I guess.
Very much so. That would have changed the context. You guys read it. To the podcast audience, I'm really sorry. Holy shit. This is why I don't really do a podcast show, but everybody over there at 95.5 Pirate Rock Radio in Boulder, I'm really sorry. Thanks for listening.
Okay.
I did say masturbate. If there's more, only a man would fuck that one up, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
That's
Freudian.
You know, that's absolutely Freudian. I was thinking about my dick. Sorry. No, everybody's all right. Well, then that's perfect. That's perfect. Oh, Jilly Lover is sick about the Moab. Yeah, the mother of all bombs. Calling it mother. Yeah. That's a total man thing to do. Total man thing to do. Good. I'm glad you guys found it funny. We just bombed a bunch of people and we're... Never mind. I'm not even going to go there. What I was talking about, Marcus, was this article. Trump flips on 4 policies in one day, including NATO.
Yeah.
Just scrolling through, labeling China a currency manipulator. Apparently they're not anymore. They're great people. China's terrific. Janet Yellen's future. I don't even know what this is about. Trump also told the Journal he'd consider renominating Yellen to chair the Fed's Board of Governors despite attacking her during his campaign. I like her. I respect her. It's very early. Blah, blah, blah. Export-Import Bank also threw his support behind the Export-Import Bank, which helps subsidize some U.S. exports. Turns out, first of all, a lot of small companies are really helped. And then NATO. Trump said NATO is no longer obsolete during a Wednesday press conference with NATO Secretary. It's almost like 45 goes to Washington, right, to learn how to fucking do a job that he was never qualified for in the first place. And he makes all these big fucking statements, and his idiotic followers are like, yeah, fuck NATO, because we don't even know why, but he said it. And then he goes in there and finds out that the military-industrial complex has other plans. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's so embarrassing. There's a new polls. Remember, the polls are only accurate when the government wants them to be or a politician needs them to be, and they are wholly inaccurate and do not count when they discredit the government or a politician, right? So this new poll, which is apparently accurate because we are currently in a state of discrediting the president, says that the majority of Americans are embarrassed by our current president. Did we really need to take a poll? Really? How much money did we waste on that statement of the obvious? All right, where'd the damn... Okay, here's the Intercept thing. I was trying to get to this for a long time. This was where we were supposed to be at, I don't know, 15 minutes ago. This is a awesome video. It's, I think it's about 6-7 minutes. I don't know how long it is. But it's Naomi Klein, and she's talking about the way to jam the Trump brand. Jam band. That's terrible. I just can't talk today. What she's talking about is how we ruin the Trump name because he is all about his name. Right? I talked about going the other way, offering his brand on everything in exchange for going renewables. Right now, she's saying, obviously he's not listening to that tune. Let's just destroy the Trump name. There are buildings, right, that pay for the right to have Trump in gold stuck on their fucking, like, I don't know why you'd want that, right? That's like asking somebody to come by and smear shit on the walls, but they put it on there. And so now tenants of these buildings are demanding that they take that down. And it's lowering the value of the overall Trump profile. And that's good because as we've seen with United, when you knock $1 billion out of their profit profile in less than 48 hours, they react. You know? They react. That's like a kick in the nuts to United. So let's see if we can't kick Trump in the nuts over and over and over again and make sure the man can never breed. Right? Again. Now here's Naomi. Let's listen to her. And I'm going to try to frame this up, but the Intercept does this in this full page thing, probably to prevent me from restreaming it. I don't know why. But all right, I'll try to make sure we get it all in here. All right. Hang on.
You've probably noticed that Donald Trump has turned the presidency into an extension of his corporate brand.
We make the finest wine, and we have Trump steaks.
Of his daughter's brand.
Go buy Ivanka's stuff.
And of his wife's future plans to be a brand.
Trump's lawyer is charging that it put in peril her, quote, unique, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make millions.
It's gross. That's a given. But for a moment, let's set aside how craven and seedy it all is and get strategic. If the president is a brand first and a politician a distant second, that gives his opponents all kinds of leverage. 17 years ago, I wrote a book called No Logo. It was about how, as companies and people morphed into super brands, they faced new vulnerabilities.
Coca-Cola, Disney, McDonald's, these core American brands became powerful precisely because they understood that they were selling ideas instead of products.
Because brand-based companies derive their value from being tightly associated with a particular image or big idea, if that image gets sullied, they're in serious trouble. We used to call this culture jamming or ad busting, flipping the marketing power behind a brand to tell a competing story about the sweatshops in which the clothes were made or the environmental devastation left behind. Any brand can be jammed. You just need to understand the image they're selling. Now, culture jamming fell out of fashion for a while, but with Trump, everything 90s is new again, especially his core brand identity, money. More specifically, Trump's brand is being the boss who is so rich he can do whatever he wants.
You're fired.
That's his twisted niche. That's why the supermodels
Hi friends, it's Melania Trump.
And the endless shots of his private jet. That's why Trump's relationship to gold is the inverse of Superman's relationship to kryptonite. He crumples if he's more than 3 feet away from something really, really shiny. Now that we know exactly what the brand is, it's obvious how to mess with it. Step 1, fire the boss.
Can I have my desk back?
Yes, of course, Mr. President. I'll go sit at my desk.
Now, lots of you have already figured this out. If Trump's personal brand is being the boss, the way to jam that is to make him look like a puppet. This guy's puppet, or this guy's puppet, or this guy's puppet. It doesn't really matter who's yanking the strings, as long as the strings are there to be seen.
So why was Bannon demoted? Apparently,
Trump has been bothered by the public perception that Bannon is actually the one in charge. Oh my God, Donald, I am so sorry. I never would have called Steve Bannon the president if I knew it hurt your feelings so much.
More, please. Anything that chips away at Trump's carefully nurtured image of being the guy in charge. Step 2, make Richie rich, less rich. Trump's brand is all about having bags and bags of money.
I'm really rich.
Which means that the other way to jam his brand is to make him less rich. Now, I don't mean make him seem less rich. No, I mean actively take money from him by sending his branding empire into crisis. This can happen. This is already happening. There's the Grab Your Wallet campaign, the clearinghouse for boycotts of Trump's web of brands. And check this out. And it's not just long ties and short skirts.
I'm back.
This guy says Celebrity Apprentice tanked because people didn't want to watch or sponsor a show associated with the President of the United States. But Trump's brand fights back hard.
I'm going to give a free commercial here. Go buy it today, everybody.
Entirely unburdened by ethics. And it may even be working. Ivanka's company claims that ever since the White House turned itself into the home shopping network, Trump's sales have actually spiked, which is why it's time for step 3, go after the big fish. One of the largest sources of revenue for the Trump Organization is leasing Trump's name to real estate companies around the world. Developers pay millions for the supposed privilege of putting the big golden Trump name on the facade of their buildings. Now, Trump is clearly betting that being president will drive up the price. But what if he's wrong? What if his brand becomes such trash that developers are willing to pay to take it down? That actually already happened in New York City when tenants of Trump Place demanded that their building manager de-Trumpify their home. And this is what happened when the Trump boys went to Vancouver to celebrate the opening of the latest Trump temple. If these kinds of protests keep spreading, more developers could decide to de-Trump themselves. We know how well Trump handled Nordstrom dropping his daughter's accessories line. How do you think he'd handle seeing his golden name dropped from giant phallic symbols from Vancouver to Manila? I say, let's find out. Step 4, be a nuisance. Boycotts and sidewalk protests aren't the only way to wreak havoc with Trump's businesses. What if a whole lot of people made reservations at Trump hotels and resorts, and then all those people changed their minds right before the cancellation deadline? Now, I'm not suggesting anyone do this, of course. I'm just wondering what would happen. And what if customers who really did want to book reservations had a hard time getting through because so many other people were calling to express their views on Trump's attacks on the EPA or mass detentions of immigrants or losing their health insurance?
I never said repeal it and replace it within 64 days. I have a long time.
Now, if you go this route, please be polite. The person answering the phone almost certainly gets paid less than they deserve and could be secretly trying to form a union. If any of this strikes you as unfair, please consider this. The whole reason we expect politicians to divest from their financial holdings or put them in a real blind trust is because you can influence a sitting politician through their business interests. Trump has chosen not to divest. So let's use that to influence the hell out of him. And let's put him in some conflicts of interest he hasn't bargained for. Believe me, this is Trump's Achilles heel. Traveling to Washington, having a protest to try to convince Republican senators to develop a conscience? Well, it's worth a try, I guess. But systematically eroding the brand of a man who is banking on profiting from his presidency both during and after his term in office, that will most certainly grab the attention of the grabber-in-chief.
Grab him by the pussy. I can do anything.
The most important thing to remember is this. The essence of good branding is repetition, and the same thing goes for good brand jamming. So go forth and repeat thyself. The president isn't a boss, he's a puppet. The president is getting less rich by the day. If his brand gets battered enough, Trump might just course correct on some of his more whacked out policies. And at the very least, screwing with his central pitch to voters, trust me, I'm a successful billionaire, will hurt Trump's chances in 2020. That is, if his giant head doesn't explode before then. Have fun out there.
That was awesome. I got to turn your audio back on, Marcus. All that noise was Marcus's fault, everybody.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Was that the dog? Was it?
No, it was a bottle falling from a stupid table here.
Ah, all right. Yeah, that's what that was, James Hancock. But yeah, I think that's brilliant. That's all nonviolent, right? Direct action. We all do it. We see how powerful it is with social media and United, right? And it's not like there's so many things happening. Like Mar-a-Lago, they just decided to start taxing Trump's trips down there. I mean, and Mar-a-Lago just got nailed for shitty food. The health inspector came down there and found all sorts of seafood and non-working coolers and this. So that's just blasting them. Every time we can nail a Trump property or a Trump product as being shit, which they all are, we destroy his brand, and it's wonderful. And I love the idea of, you got to tie that together with him and his wacky policies, because if we can show him that he's losing his ass on fossil fuels and that the renewable sector is kicking ass, and get him to shift his investments into renewables, then what's he going to promote? That's what I want. I want to see him start promoting when Rex the bigger issue there is Rex, because Rexon's still making plenty of money. And Rexon's gearing up to make a lot more money from the impending wars we have with multiple nations that we've poked and fucked with over the last, how long has he been in office? It's beyond insane. It's the table's fault, Paula. What, Marcus?
There is a funny news coming from Germany. I think in July, Trump intends to come to Germany for the NATO meeting, and he already tried to book a luxury hotel for his stay here, and the guys there at the hotel said, "Nah, go away, we don't want you."
That's awesome. That's awesome. That is awesome. What are we talking about? Trump calls missiles beautiful. Oh, I know. Well, he eats chocolate cake and can't remember the country he just bombed. I know.
Yeah.
That's the difference. See, that's the difference between Obama and Trump. Obama could sell it. Trump can't sell it. He doesn't know how to sell this product of war, right? He was able to sell the idea of make America great again and base that on a bunch of bullshit. And now that he's done nothing to make America great again, his constituents are wondering what the fuck's going on. And we're seeing that. We've got a lot of ground game, but let's move on. I just wanted to, I love that idea. I love tying the environment. We got to do the work with environment. The divestment from fossil fuels is going to destroy Trump. Because as the people he's trying to please, which are other business people, leave fossil fuels to go invest in renewables, he's going to be forced to do the same. So I really love that idea. If Trump needed money, things would be so much better. He's not actually in the best of financial situations.
He has a lot of trials to deal with in the future. A lot
of trials to deal with. Yeah, he's
300, 3,000. I don't know the exact number anymore. It's a lot of trials.
It is. So we got a lot of ground game to talk about, because that's the most important thing, right? And there's a lot going on. Like, I can't even keep up. I don't even have all of the ground game action listed here. This one I thought was pretty cool to start with. Fish. The 90s band Fish, right? I don't know how familiar you are with those. Marcus, probably not your cup of tea.
Nope, I don't know them.
They were like the Grateful Dead, only the 90s version. And,
I like the Grateful Dead.
Trey Anastasio was a well-accomplished guitarist. And this guy, the drummer of Fish, is getting into politics because Bernie said that's what you got to do, and I think that's awesome. Let me get to the story here. Where'd it go? There we go. Fish drummer Jonathan Fishman running for Lincolnville Selectman, which is some whatever county. Or probably not even a county, probably just a precinct. We need new blood in the political process, and you are that new blood, Democratic candidate Bernie Sanders told his supporters following his loss last year. It means that at every level we continue to fight to make our society a nation, economic, social, racial justice environment. This is what he heard, right? That's the guy right there. I wasn't even a big Fish fan. In the 90s, I was too busy doing drugs to even pay attention to Fish. But down here he says, during the campaign, musician Jonathan Fishman of Lincolnville had been traveling around the country performing and speaking to crowds of Bernie supporters. The 52-year-old drummer who used who used to live in Senator Sanders' home state of Vermont, has been performing for 3 decades with the popular jam band Phish, and said he had never seriously considered running for office himself, but something about Sanders' message resonated. Bernie was saying, look at all you people who got onto the Sanders campaign and cared about these issues. You should run for local offices, your school boards, your select boards and committees, said Fishman. Public service is needed across the board, so I guess that kind of sentiment just sat with me. Right? He's not, and the guy goes on to say, look, I've done well in my career, right? He's a fucking rock star, done fine. And he's like, he says, I could sit on my ass and not be engaged, but that's not the right thing to do, right? So I think that's awesome. That's badass. And somebody like that, who has influence, who has a mass influence in social media over whatever demographic audience is listening to Phish, right? That's important because he can reach a lot more people with that celebrity. In that sense, the celebrity is a good thing, right? As long as it's used as a message of truth, right? Then the celebrity is good. When it's in celebrity in the hands of somebody like Donald Trump and it's used to deliver a message of lies, it's not really a good thing. But anyway, I thought that was cool. Portland, there's a I talked about this Portland ground game a while back, but I think it's just coming to like finally become law or whatever. But Portland says CEOs that make 300 times more than their workers, we're going to put a stop to that. There's a new law in Portland going through. But the reason I think it's a great idea. We need to do this because pay inequality is one of the major things driving the problem with the poor in America. We got greedy CEOs that take whatever they want and screw their employees. And then they're exonerated. They don't go to jail. They just take their golden parachute and they're gone. Or they take an immunity plea and tell the FBI what the FBI wants to hear to do some other bust and they're gone. There should be thousands of suit and tie, white collar criminals in our prison system right now. And they've all paid to get out of it. Because that's how our judicial system works in many ways. You can pay to be free. You can pay to not have to pay. They're saying that by 2014, the gap had swollen to about 300 to 1. I know that right now that gap is at least 450 to 1 in terms of CEO pay to lowest employee. That's how greedy CEOs are today in 2017. It's disgusting. You know what the Center for Appropriate Businessness of whatever they call it, there's some group out there that says, here's what if a CEO is doing well, if a company's doing well, how much more should they be allowed to make, be able to make and when it's be allowed, it's like, yes, freedom, make whatever you want, but if you're really making that much money, do something else with it. Don't just hoard it like an ass fuck, right? That's called being a steward. You're that rich, do something decent with your money. So they say 20 times your lowest employees pay, right? That's what they say, 20 times. We're more than 200, add a 0 times 2. That's fucking insanity for greed. That's greed beyond greed. I think God's going, I didn't even think of greed like that. Wow, that's some greed. I mean, that's, ridiculous greed. The thing that blows my mind about this article, the reason I talked about it, because I'm glad Portland's doing the law. I'm glad we're capping what a CEO is allowed to make. They're going to tax the shit out of these guys or do something with that. But right now, this is what they're doing. They're changing the tax law around that. So it's not beneficial to be doing that, or I don't know how to do it. The way these tax laws are set up for corporations is the more the CEO gets paid in payouts, the less he pays in taxes. What the fuck? If there's anything that should burn your fucking nuggets more than anything else about being an American citizen, it's that these motherfucking rich assholes pay less taxes as they make more. And then they complain when we want $15 a fucking hour. Oh, I could string a few of those fuckers up right now. No, I couldn't. That would be violent. But I want to. This is what I'm talking about. You want to stop this bullshit? We got to get the lying suit and ties out of fucking government. Because they're all just a bunch of greedy fucks. Just a bunch of unfucking believable that the laws say, oh, you got a payout of 1.5 billion. We are going to give you some money back, which is literally what happens with Exxon. Exxon pays no taxes. We subsidize their industry, and we give them money back on their taxes because they don't pay any taxes. And then we buy their gas. And then we make their CEO Secretary of State so he can do deals around the world.
Basic income salary cap.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. Hey, Jordy Albert. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Big old dick extension dropped on Afghanistan via America. We strapped it on and went in for the blow. Yes, we did. What do you guys hear? Snorky Y2K. When I took economics, 281 in the early 1980s, the professor said that economy could never be stable while interest rate was above 7%. It got into the 20s in the 80s. Yeah. I mean, There's all sorts of. If you really want to trace this back to the real money issues, it goes back to the late 1800s, Morgan Stanley, and what happened with the creation of the Fed, why that was created, and the bullshit scam that was really when corporate banking took over our government, and that's when it happened. Everybody's got to understand. I'm not saying we weren't corrupt before then. I'm just saying that's really when the banking system became our government. It was the late 1800s. It's really scary. Go back and look at that history.
We should go back to the good old times when the bankers used to take the supplier's entrance into a house.
Take the what? They would take the what?
The supplier's entrance.
Supplier's entrance. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's like a servant? What are you talking about? I'm not.
Yes, in the old times, or not in the old times, in the 19th century or in the until the 19th century, the banksters or the bankers were not well seen in Europe, and they didn't have the right to come to their customers by the front door. No, they had to take the separate door, the door for suppliers only. Yes,
the service entrance, huh? Interesting.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah,
I think in America they were always considered wonderful.
No.
No?
Yeah, maybe. Not in Europe.
Not in Europe, no. Well, Europe was weak on capital.
It changed, of course.
It did.
We have the same idiots running around here like you. Maybe not that extreme, but the same mentality.
Before I move on, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't mistaken about what I saw. There's been so much news. Yeah, here it is. Marie Le Pen campaign headquarters building hit by fire bombs.
No, come on.
Yeah, this is RT News.
Top story at this hour.
This would fuck it completely up.
Yeah, and we just talked about this. Le Pen is which side of the equation? The
right-wing Nazis. They are Nazis.
Okay, so somebody just bombed their building, according to RT News, bombed their headquarters. I'm not going to run the story. I won't run the video right now, but just know that happened. We'll look at it tomorrow. Those who reportedly took responsibility of the incident vowed to continue such acts until the very day of election. So this should be some interesting reporting from Katie when we talk about this. Yeah. There's a lot of this interesting times, everybody. Very interesting times. A lot of violence, a lot of tension going on in the world. Federal Reserve story really is not well known. No, it's not, Dewey. It's not. If you really want a good understanding of the corruption of the United States, the regime change, what really happened with money and all that bullshit, The Untold History of the United States by Oliver Stone, I think that's what it's called. That's a big eye-opener. Because he covers the reality of what we did. He explains Iran, Iraq, 1953. That'll burst. That movie burst my Go USA bubble. Let's put it that way, to really understand just how evil we are. The Nazis got attacked, or they got. No, they got attacked. No, the Nazi Party got attacked, which, when it's violence like that, it's not helpful. It's not helpful. It makes them the victim, and that's
That's exactly, this is a problem.
Yeah.
Exactly, this can be a problem, yes.
Yeah, because now they're going to gain sympathy, right, Marcus?
And maybe people who said, okay, we would vote for another candidate might flip now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And let's spin this in case Le Pen wins the election and France would leave the EU.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we are a number of national states again, and very worrying.
Exactly. Now, we've got a right-wing faction, a really extreme right-wing corporatist neo-Nazi faction of the world kind of working its way into top government, and the United States sadly is leading in that regard right now. You know, what are you talking about, Ocean Worlds? I know they've got some new information on the water underneath Pluto, and they know that the cloud layers on Jupiter go at least 200 miles deep. That's pretty cool. So that, more ground game. We've got some more exciting stuff. This guy, this asshat. You say you pay me to do this. That's bullcrap. I pay for myself. That's what this representative says. I pay for myself. His reasoning being that he pays enough taxes that he's not doing this for pay. He's not doing it for the pay. And he's kind of missing the fucking point. Right? He's just one of many. He believes he's paying his own way in Washington. He's missing the point. I'm glad you paid taxes, and I'm glad you paid taxes before, and that some of your tax money went to pay our politicians, because that's how it works. But now you're an actual fucking employee. So yes, our tax dollars pay for you, shithead. Unbelievable that this guy would even think otherwise. Here's what one commenter in the video said. A man who believes that he's paying his own way in Washington will never feel obligated to represent the needs of his constituents. He only works for himself, therefore he cannot lead. Because that's not the way representative government works. We didn't choose you, and then you say, thank you for choosing me, I'll pay my own way, fuck off and freelance. That's not how it works. We hired you. You are beholden to us. Kind of an indentured servant in a way. You know? I just unfucking believable. Unbelievable that anybody like that. And more, there's more. This New Jersey guy, we're going to play this video because I always like hearing the people comment back. This guy faces fiery crowd in first town hall since Obamacare vote. He was one of the guys who voted to repeal. Okay. But I want you to listen to his responses because he went there. There was a crowd. The crowd got to speak. Obviously, he's not liked by the people that want to keep their goddamn health care, but he understands that he is under fire by his constituents. Right? We hope that translates to reality at the booth, but here's what he had to say.
And Congressman Lance, you got a lot of feedback tonight. I was wondering, was there any one question or one statement that really stuck with you that you take away from this?
Certainly, the overwhelming majority of my constituents here this evening and also throughout the district want to make sure that there can be no denial of health care coverage based upon a pre-existing condition. That was mentioned this evening, I think, in one of the early questions, and that has been virtually uniform. It's certainly been uniform in the 3 town hall meetings I've held. I think it's uniform across the district. And I have consistently stated, running for re-election in 2010 after the act was passed, in 2012, in 2014, and again in 2016, that I want to make sure that no one is denied coverage in this society based upon a pre-existing condition. And that question or comment was reiterated this evening, and I certainly took it to heart.
And we'll listen to this one here.
If you believe that the president needs to be accountable to the citizens of the United States as I do, then you need to call for the release of the president's tax returns.
This is about Trump's taxes.
I certainly reiterate tonight that I does release his tax returns. And as you know, all modern candidates for president and presidents have released their tax returns, although there is not a legal requirement that presidents or presidential candidates do so. I am reluctant to force the president to release his tax returns. But I hope that he will do so. And I do not want to go to a system where we require those who hold office to release tax returns.
Why not? Good question. This one, though, is the one that I don't understand where men get this idea. Just the men and white, it's old white men. Old white men and vaginas. Old white men and abortions. I don't understand what it is. Listen to what he has to say on Planned Parenthood. Just for the record, there is no federal funding ever that has gone to Planned Parenthood for abortions. Secondly, men use Planned Parenthood.
What I have suggested to Planned Parenthood is that it have two completely separate organizations. One that the services regarding women's health, and another organization that performs the abortion procedure. And I would hope.
Let us choose our own doctors! Yes! Men use Planned Parenthood too!
I would hope that.
That's just old white men. Anyway, the point of that is that he's hearing his constituents be angry with him, rightfully so. And hopefully, if he continues to vote like a piece of limp toast, they'll fire him. That's their job, is to work as hard as they can to replace him with somebody who actually gives a shit and doesn't think like it's the Middle Ages. I don't understand. Just I can't even go there. It's an echo chamber. It's an echo chamber. Last, so we got next. We've got a couple other things here. Ground game stuff. This is. Do you remember this? You guys remember this? I guess I want to report some justice, sort of. This was the cop. That there was a therapist sitting on the ground trying to work with his patient, and they had a toy boat, silver toy, in his hands, and this idiot fuck cop showed up, said I got a bead on him, and took a shot, injured the therapist. It's just, again, cops. I know no cops watch this show, but maybe the message will get there. When one of you acts like this, it makes all of you look like fucktards. It makes you all look terrible. It's the platoon mentality. I have zero trust for cops in the United States of America because cops, even the supposed good cops, don't turn in the bad cops. They protect and serve their own. And the day I see a good cop turn on a bad cop, I will trust that good cop, and I will have respect for that good cop. I really only know one good cop, and that's Mike Butler. In Longmont, he's the chief of peace and public safety, which includes the police department. So I think I could probably trust his police department because I know that he believes in restorative justice. But cops that run around just shooting at people because they think they can and get away with it, I want all of those cops to be in prison right now. And sadly, this cop, thought this was okay to do. Shoot at unarmed citizens. I don't even know why. I don't even know why. They're just on the fucking ground. I don't even know why. They won't even do anything. And then he backs up his story. What, Marcus? What?
The story is even worse. If you read the complete article, it says that he came to this incident. There was a call from someone who said there's someone around with a silver-looking gun, and it turned out to be a toy. And the policeman who was charged, he came and was 150 feet in 150 feet distance, and there were two other colleagues of him who were only 20 feet away from those guys. And he came on and said, I got him, I will shoot him. And the colleagues told him, no, he has no gun, he has a toy in his hand. And he said, I got him, and then he shot.
Yes.
Boom.
Yes. But this is common. This is common. That's what I'm saying. This is common. Where cops are just like, I got a bead. I can take a shot. Why not? The citizens of the United States of America have become target practice for cops who just want to shoot shit, who have the mental capability of a dog. And I apologize to all dogs, because even dogs wouldn't want to just harm a human because they could. I am disgusted with the police of the entire United States of America, because if any of you are worth a fuck, you would be arresting your brothers and sisters who are acting like assholes across the United States. And as I've said before, I never thought I would want to buy a weapon to protect myself from the police force I pay to keep me safe. Unfucking believable. So let's be glad that this one ass fuck cop is going to prison, except for the fact that he's not going to be a better person there. You know what I'm saying? He's going to go to our shitty prison system, and he's going to be turned into more of an asshole because he's going to be put in prison as a cop. And he will just become a part of the criminal system, which is what happens when you go into our criminal workforce. I mean, I don't have any love for the guy. But let's do restorative justice so that he's just not another piece of shit in our society that my tax dollars pay for. Let's make him a useful piece of society. You know? And then maybe down the road we'll be able to forgive his fucking ass. Maybe. I can't right now. Yeah, they said it was a toy in the... I know. There was everything wrong about this. The cop damn well knew he didn't need to shoot. He just fucking shot anyway. And then in his testimony, he's like, I did what I thought I needed to do at the spur of the moment based on my decisions. It's like, well, you didn't use your fucking ears? You didn't listen to your commanding officer when they said, wait?
He even didn't use his fucking brains.
Yeah, it's just bullshit, the excuses these guys come up with. There's no excuse. There's no fucking excuse. None. Cops. I need you to raise the bar on yourselves, cops, because right now you look like a bunch of dumb fuck thugs that do zero for the safety of citizens. You just run around with guns shooting at people and do zero. I want to see some cops arrest some fucking cops. And then I'll start to trust cops in my country again. But right now, all cops, to me, are the criminals, the thugs, the terrorists, scaring the fuck out of American citizens and getting paid to do it. By American citizens. It's outrageous. Absolutely fucking outrageous. And then we've got Jeff Sessions who wants to not reform any of our police departments. Our police departments need to be brought to fucking heel. They need to have their guns and toys taken away. They need to go to fucking school. They need some emotional education, some mental education. Half of them need to be pulled out of service because they're not even qualified to be cops. We have the worst fucking police force on planet Earth because it thinks with its penis. Just like our federal government. Bunch of dick-swinging motherfuckers. Sorry. It's another reason why I'll never be able to go into politics. I don't like cops. I don't even think cops should have the powers that they do. I don't think they should be allowed to carry the weapons that they do or dress the way they do. They're public fucking servants. And I want to see them do some serving, not shooting. I want some service from my cops. That's what I want. And look, I have respect for them as human beings, but I look at cops around the world and I see great cops. I see cops in Germany being good. I see cops in Sweden being good, in France being good. I see them handling violent situations not like assholes. I see them handling situations like a real, intelligent, trained cop would. What I don't see them doing is just blatantly shooting everybody. So I do have a right as a citizen to call my cops the worst shitty fucking cops on planet Earth. It's my personal opinion. And here, let's regress some more. North Carolina is working as fast as it can to return to the Middle Ages. They're trying to ban gay marriage, saying the federal government overstepped its bounds in protecting all human beings. You know? And there was that one cop, by the way. There's the one cop that did stand up against the rest of the cops and was kicked out of the force, and he now walks in gay pride parades and stuff. Remember that guy? So there's that, I think his name is Ray. I know 2 cops now. 2 cops, although he's not a cop anymore. Because once you stand up against the cop brotherhood, you're kicked out. You don't get to be part of the asshole club anymore. I wonder how long it's going to take before a group of them show up at my house and threaten me. I wonder how long it's going to take in this country falling apart the way it is. Because, and I'm not going to go into it right now, but I got a story happening here. I've reached out to the paper through Charles Mon because there's some injustice going on in Corvallis, and I'm going to bring it to light. And it may shed some light on some failures of the Corvallis Police Department. Let's put it that way. So, I'm welcome to my new town. I'm already going to piss off some people in it. Because it's not that we're seeing an injustice, a massive injustice, and negligence, whole negligence on behalf of the county and the police department and the justice department. Just negligence. And I'm not going to let it fucking stand. So, anyway, here's some good news, folks. City sets plans to divest employee payroll from Wells Fargo. Philadelphia is saying fuck you to Wells Fargo, everybody. Woo! Yay! I'm so excited. I'm so excited for that. More and more cities are doing this. That directly hurts the Trump brand. Well, maybe not directly, indirectly. He's got so much investments, right, in the fossil fuel industry. Wells Fargo's, losing value. They're closing locations because they were going to close locations anyway. But more and more people are divesting from fossil fuels. More and more cities, more and more governments, more and more groups, right? So and actually I saw that, I think it was the city of Portland. Not only are they divesting from Wells Fargo and fossil fuels, but they are no longer going to invest public funds in corporate interest. That's what I saw. Like they won't seek out investing in a corporation as part of raising the profile of the money that the people give them. Something like that. I don't have all the words, but it's good. It means they're not going to be investing in shitty corporations anymore, as our government of Oregon, which is good. It's smart. Oh, Melissa, thank you for bringing that up. I told you there's so much. I haven't talked about the New York judge. I only just got the basis of the story. She was our first Muslim woman New York judge. She was found dead in the Hudson River, and I don't know the full story. Did they determine the cause of death? I saw somebody say suicide or judgicide. I mean, what? I don't know the full story. I just know it's horrible. And she was just discovered, last night? The initial report that I saw said there were no signs of foul play, but I have no idea, beyond that, guys. So, MSM saying it's not criminal. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Could have been just a terrible, terrible accident. Those used to just happen and be the things. Now, stuff happens constantly. Oh man, I just apologize, everybody. I didn't mean to go off so much on the cops. I'm just so angry. It's because when you pay somebody and give them power above you and trust them with that, it makes it 10 times more despicable when they abuse that power and that trust. And that's what bothers me so much. We need to hold our public officials, especially the ones we weaponize, We need to hold them to a higher standard. We need to make sure they never take the power away from us to take the power away from them, which is what they've done. And then threaten us with the power we gave them. That's what they've done.
I think the major problem lies in your gun laws.
Oh God, yeah.
Because you cannot compare police in Europe with police in America, because the police here is not confronted with everybody walking around with guns in their pockets, you know.
I know.
And this makes the situation for policemen very different, in my opinion. They have to think that everybody who is coming along, something's happening, can be an enemy, you know.
Except in the majority of the cases that we see, though, that's not the case.
Yeah, let me go on.
All right.
This is, of course, no excuse. This is no excuse. But the stress is different. The psychology is different, and then you have policemen who are not schooled to deal with those situations. They only, in my impression is, they only get a gun in their hands after a couple of weeks and say, now you're a cop, and go out in the streets and do whatever you got to do.
Right. It's you're right. It is a psychological training because the cops are being trained for war, not peace. They're being, you know.
It should be what in most European countries is that police should, in the first place, be working to de-escalate the situation.
Right. Not just go in and bust a few caps and throw handcuffs on. Right. But I'm talking about more. It's more than that. It's just the overall propensity for violence, the overall eagerness of cops to be violent. I don't even have it loaded. I have it saved for another time. But there's a video of a cop a dude was jaywalking, and this cop just clocks him in the middle of the fucking street, slams him to the ground. Like, what kind of a human being does that to another human being? I don't care if you're a cop or what. It's like the dude was jaywalking. He didn't have a weapon. He wasn't being belligerent. And this cop just like tackles him to the ground in the middle of the street. This is the kind of mentality I'm talking about. Knuckle dragging, dick swinging, dumb fuck mentality. And I get it. It's the fault of our police departments. It's the fault of the lack of training that we give them, and that our entire fucking country has been raised on the idea that violence is glorious and what America does for freedom.
And yes, exactly. And there's another reason. If you got cops like this, and people get aware how cops are dealing, I think it might be very attractive for psychopaths to join the police.
Yeah. It's the. We're gonna move on from cops. Enough about cops. But there are so many other incidences I haven't even mentioned. I just like every 2 minutes, another incident shows up in the wire. You know, cop doing this, cop doing that, this happening, this, and then to be experiencing it myself right now in the town of Corvallis. I'm very frightened. It's just unbelievable. But let's move on. This is Indiana is another one of those states that is fighting they're fighting the renewable industry, and they now have a bill going to their governor's desk. Their governor's a big Republican, and it is a bill to destroy net metering or compromise on net metering. So I just wanted to show that real quick. It's Senate Bill 309. And we don't know where he's going to stand on it, but basically, net metering is a benefit to those that have solar and an incentive for people to get solar and renewable energy on their homes, and it's a downer for the electric company that is still reliant on fossil fuels. If the electric company wasn't so reliant on fossil fuels and was really promoting of solar energy and promoting of renewables, then it wouldn't whine so much about net metering. It's really the way it goes. So as long as you have somebody within your government who wants to claim that net metering stifles, forces, the claim is that net metering forces other people to pay more, and it kind of does. But it's only because the utility company is not moving forward with renewables. If we took all utilities and made them focus on renewable energy sources, then there would be no problem with net metering. We could put rooftop solar on everybody's homes, and that's the incentive there. If you don't like paying the net metering coverage, get fucking rooftop solar. That's why net metering exists. So here we have another bill going forth. Now this doesn't kill net metering in Indiana, but it lessens the value for it, trying to find a compromise. And they agree that it's a compromise and it needs to be worked on. But everybody in your states needs to know that one of the biggest issues with renewables in your states is fighting utility companies that don't want to share the profit. Utility companies that don't want to deal with the onboarding of renewable energy sources because it actually is an expense. We have to upgrade our antiquated utility systems to be able to deal with the phase power that comes back from these grid points. That's always been a bitch issue with them. And then there's the storage of the energy. And that's really the kicker. If we invested in our utilities or bought our own utilities, for fuck's sake, which is really what we need to be doing. Towns come together, invest in their own battery storage system, the Tesla battery storage systems, then utilities will shut the fuck up because that's one of the biggest issues is energy storage and delivering that energy at the same cost and same rate during off-peak hours and on-peak hours. So anyway, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous that they would even push this through. And hopefully Eric Holcomb will understand that the future is in renewables and not in pandering to some fossil fuel people who are just trying to hold on to the last gasp. This is really what's going on there. If you're in Colorado, be pissed. Bureau of Land Management, and maybe not be pissed, but let's get a coalition together and buy the land. They're selling it for cheap. They're selling it for $5.50 an acre on average. BLM's planned lease sale of 100,000 Colorado acres in forest. Nice forest. See where that's right next to the forest. They want to frack it. Of course, they want to frack it. So, hey, Coloradans, get out there, get yourself some money together, buy that land up, and then don't frack it. You should be able to do that at $5.50 an acre, which sounds like a pretty goddamn cheap deal to me. You know, unbelievable.
You even you don't even need to buy every acre. You know,
that's true.
You only would need to buy strategically, so that they cannot build anything around it.
That is very true. And then deny them passage through whatever you bought. That's
Exactly.
That's very true. That would be we need to figure out a way to do that. I hope somebody over in Colorado is figuring out a way to do that. I will tell you guys the full Corvallis thing later, Barbara. It's a big story. It's a big story, and it's just a sad story, and I'm seeking justice, real justice, and the understanding of why things aren't. It's just sad what I see from what I would consider to be a progressive town. Let's say that. Not so progressive in their justice, it seems. But anyway. So we got the BLM thing, which is not good. What else is on my list? Greedy and renewables, climate science, Alaska's becoming really nice. All sorts of stuff happen in Alaska as everything melts. You know, it's amazing, the flora and fauna. But oh man, I didn't have this. I forgot about this one too. Here's another politician getting yelled at. This is in Oregon. This is Greg Walden. Had a town hall meeting on April 12th. Walden is an Oregon guy. An angry overflow crowd of about 500 in the Dalles gave Rep. Greg Walden an earful Wednesday about his positions on healthcare, immigration, and climate change. 2 hours later, an even larger and more vocal group did the same in Hood River. That's badass, right? You know, he keep the pressure up because they're only human, and they will wear down, and that's what this is about. Keep the pressure up. Let them know we're going to fire their asses if they keep voting like shitheads. They're doing a bad job, right? And Walden apparently got some questionable votes going on there. So, yeah. Dewey says, I miss pot. Well, let's go get you some, Dewey. What else? We talking about a car. Whose car? With a flux capacitor. Such a cool idea. We do have some cool science stuff to talk about, actually. I love this story. This is a good story. It's a good story. This is over in the UK. Offshore firms' new recruits start work on Galloper construction. These two guys are former oil and gas workers whose jobs were displaced because oil and gas is no longer, viable. Those jobs are going away. These guys have been retrained by a company that is building wind turbines, because over there in the UK, they are just going gangbusters on the wind turbines off the coast. Scotland's got them going on, and just like everywhere you guys going on. Germany's got wind turbines, right?
Yeah, we got the North Sea, and the
Right.
North Sea is rough and lots of wind and perfect.
You got wind, and you got the tidal energy too, right? Because like you said, the North Sea is not exactly calm Caribbean water, and
Yep.
yeah. So this is they hired on 100 former fossil fuel workers. It sounds like, and trained them to do. They just upped they had 300 employees. They have 400 employees. They're building wind turbines, putting up all over the place, building a 6 megawatt chunk of wind turbines. The renewables sector, the energy there is going to. It's like we're going to replace energy on the earth with renewables, and the electric grids are still going to be fighting us. I really think every town, every city needs to just come up with a coalition to invest in building their own electric grid separate from whatever exists, so that they don't have to battle. There was a Rhode Island. Is it Rhode Island? I think it was Rhode Island. There's a little town that did that. They realized that they could power their entire town if they crowdfunded as their town one wind turbine, and they did. And then they cut themselves off from the rest of energy, and the town's got. Now they just pay a minimal fee for maintenance and delivery. That's how we need to do this, because that means we can still interconnect for redundancy and backup, but we are each stable in our own cell. And that would be a much better modern 21st century grid than what we have now, which is easily destroyable by EM and all sorts of stuff. Do you know what your goal is, Markus? Your Germany goal is for being renewable energy 100%?
Yes, of course, this should be our plan. But first thing would be good to reach the climate treaties,
That's impossible. that's impossible.
No. I mean our German climate
the German one. Yeah.
target.
Well, that's what I mean. Like Portland just announced they want to be 100% energy, or Oregon announced 100% energy, renewable energy by 2050, which sounds great. I just don't think we'll make it to 2050. That's why I was curious.
But better than doing nothing.
It is. I just think, I was hoping the Germans would be like 2030. We're going to beat you. We can get the competition things. Like,
I think it is not comparable. Maybe in percent only.
All right. Toking up now. Please stand by. Good night, Tails. Wrong, John. That is codependent thinking. What's codependent thinking? What am I codependent thinking about? I missed that. Please tell me what I'm codependent thinking about. I'm very familiar with that. Ex-wife number 2 was a marriage and family therapist, so I totally understand the word codependency, and I totally understand how to work my way through that. So tell me what I was codependent on.
God.
Please.
Conversational therapy. Okay, let's go.
Absolutely. That's what this is. I'm not qualified to be a therapist, but I can sound like one all the time. This is cool. More environmental fun. Trump's border wall plan hits a snag as congressman backs environmental lawsuit because the environmental damage to the dumb fuck wall is going to be massive. Because of the wall. And it's Raul Grijalva. God damn it, that's how his last name is pronounced. I worked on that a lot during the primaries because he was a big guy going around the primaries. We interviewed him at one point. Raul Grijalva of Arizona and the Center for Biological Diversity in the United States District Court for Arizona seek to they're going to force the government to undertake an ecological environmental impact on sticking a dumbass wall because dumb. So that will take a long time to wade through the court process, which is why they do this. And so we won't see a wall going up anywhere around that Arizona area anytime soon. So for those of you who actually still want to come into this country from Mexico, there will be a big gaping hole in Arizona. Just like for a while. And you can still go via air and via water and just catapult over the, like the one politician, just climb the fence where it is. So don't worry. you got options. If you really want to be here, that's the thing. Why? Why would you really want to be here? No one really wants to be here right now. Not even the citizens want to be here. We can't even get clean drinking water in most places. Don't come here. The water in Mexico City could be better at this point. And I remember in the 80s, everybody in my white suburban privileged town was laughing at the fact that Mexico City had a hole over itself because of ozone and had shitty drinking water. Today, we're about to destroy our ozone and we have shitty drinking water. Yay, America. Go, America. Don't tell Trump that we're more like Mexico than he wants to. It's really the truth. This is California's super bloom. You guys been hearing about this? Laura Livengood has been, she found her own little spot because California has so much water. It's actually above, California is now past drought into too much water, right? And continues to be into too much water. They will bake over the summer and all this life will be destroyed. But right now, we have a super bloom, which happens in the desert when all of a sudden the desert life gets a fuck ton of water. And that's really fucking cool. And this is what it looks like from space. That was the dry aridness of California. I don't even know where that is. That's wildflowers north of Los Padres National Forest in early December 2016 before the winter rains, and in late March during the wildflower super bloom. That is just amazing. That's from space. See, climate change is not just catastrophic, it's beautiful. Like missiles. Yeah. All right. How Alaska is coping with global warming. This was the article I wanted to talk about, was Alaska. I skipped over it. And we're almost to the end, folks. We're actually maybe out of time. So what's really the sad but funny thing about this article is that because the temperature in Alaska has increased twice as much than it has anywhere else in the United States. Don't know why, right? North Pole, Alaska, up there, whole jet stream coming down this way now, right? We fucked that all up, right? That's why, actually. We know why. But, so 1.7 degrees Celsius is how much the temperature in Alaska has increased since 1980. 1.7 degrees Celsius. That's huge. That's the average temperature increase. And because of this, like Alaska already spends tons, millions and millions of dollars on keeping out invasive species. Invasive species of plant that get up in there. Apparently people dump their fish tanks when their fish die, and the plants that they give them for their aquariums are invasive, and these take over waterways and end up killing other fish life and fucks up the ecology, right? Believe it or not, there's people paid, or used to be paid, in the United States to actually really manage and care for the balance of our ecology. It's called being environmentally cautious and caring, right? We used to give a fuck about this, and we used to have people to do this. We still do now. It's just apparently nobody gives a fuck about them anymore at the federal level. But Alaska is seeing so many of these new species come in because of the temperature change. Before, they were trying to keep them out. Now, some of them are actually beneficial because of the temperature change. They're like, well, come on in. So really, Alaska is welcoming immigrant species into the United States without proper vetting. And I just want to make that clear. That's really where I'm going. Due to climate change. There's more immigration happening other than human beings. Every species on this planet is being affected by climate change right now in some way and is having to cope with it. And that's our fault. Every fucking species. Everything. We have polluted our womb. That's the you guys seen the movie Scarface? Remember the movie Scarface, Marcus?
Yeah, I do.
This morning I was thinking about what we're doing to the environment. what we're doing to ourselves. And I realized, and I was like, I almost wanted to find that clip, right? And where he says, your womb is so polluted. You know, he's all drunk and he's talking to, I don't even remember who the actress is, but she's there, and, you know, she's pregnant or whatever. And, or not pregnant, she was, but I can't remember what the deal was. It was a horrible scene. I mean, he's a horrible guy, but instead of saying womb, say your world so polluted. But really, the earth is our womb. It's the womb of every species here. It's how we all became, and it is the living womb for all new species, except we have stopped the process of new species. We are actually losing species. For millions and millions of years, this womb has been creating more diversity until we showed up, and now we have reversed the process of diversity. We are causing a great extinction. That is we have polluted our womb. So much.
Look at the veins you showed yesterday, the lakes,
yeah,
the rivers.
Yeah.
It looked like an organic structure, you know.
Exactly.
And it shows everything is connected with everything.
Yeah, it does. It does. We know this. We know this. We forgot. Got too proud of ourselves and our achievements, our penis extensions. Jonathan Dangle, we are so screwed. We probably. I think we're going to work as hard as we can to fix this, but most likely we're toast. There's all this talk about our children enjoying a habitable planet. I don't think we will be looking at a habitable planet. I think by the time I'm 60-ish, this planet's going to be hell on earth. Because we won't be able to reverse this in time. We can't. We've done too much damage. We needed to start 20 years ago. Really. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50. How far below the horizontal does this phase last? What are we talking about, Dennis? Talking about the jet stream? I don't know. That's pretty messed up. But let's talk about some crazy-ass science stuff real quick. That's slightly more encouraging. We have entered a whole new realm of physics, a whole new understanding of material science. We've added a new state of matter, at least one, maybe two. Like, we're talking, we are at the level, we are beyond, in some ways, the level of where our science fiction writers were envisioning us in terms of science and understanding. But we've been stifled in development of these things because most of our resources have gone to war and not science. So it's amazing what we come up with anyway. These physicists say they've created a fluid with negative mass. Not even going to try to. I'm just going to have fun attempting to read some of the stuff here. We're scroll down to the researchers from Washington State say they've successfully managed to get a fluid of super chilled atoms to act as though it has negative mass and suggest it could finally be used to study some of the stranger phenomenon happening in the deep universe. That alone. All right. So to create this fluid, the team used lasers to cool rubidium atoms to a fraction of absolute zero, creating what's known as a Bose-Einstein condensate. In this state, particles move incredibly slowly and follow the strange principles of quantum mechanics rather than classical physics, which means they start to behave like waves with a location that can't be precisely pinpointed, except last year we actually discovered how to see the wave and the points at the same time, so we've blown past that one as well. The particles also sync up and move in unison, forming what's known as a superfluid, a substance that flows without losing energy to friction, which is bypassing a standard law of physics, which is the conservation of energy. The team used lasers to keep the superfluid at the icy temperatures, but also to trap it in a tiny bowl-like field measuring less than 100 microns. That's incredibly fucking tiny. While the superfluid remained contained in the space, it had regular mass, and as far as the Bose-Einstein condensates go, it was pretty normal. But then the team forced the superfluid to escape. Using a second set of lasers, they kicked the atoms back and forth to change their spin, breaking the bowl and allowing the rubidium to come rushing out so fast that it behaved as if it had negative mass. I don't even understand any of that sentence. I'm just telling you that we created negative mass with rubidium in a 100 micron bowl with two sets of lasers. I don't even know why, but physicists are pretty excited about it. And that's some far-ass fucking sci-fi amazingness. It's just... In the meantime, we just dropped a giant dick extension in Afghanistan. It's like I go from the world of Star Trek to the world of the Spanish Inquisition.
Flintstones.
What, Marcus?
Flintstones.
Yes, Flintstones. Yes, but even the Flintstones were, it's, I don't know. It's just horrible. Yeah, James, I'm looking at James Hancock. Bose-Einstein condensates. Yes, I stumble over the words as I say that, you know. Physicists are breaking new ground in many areas, especially quantum physics. They are. Material science is just blowing my mind. Just blowing my mind with what we've come up with lately. Amazing stuff. I hope we're around to utilize it. I hope we're around to yeah. That's exactly Nine Tails. We'll be fucking up the universe in no time. We'll be up there claiming ownership of constellations. And, you know, just doing ridiculous. Cannabis. I forgot to talk about cannabis. So I mentioned cannabis yesterday. We're talking about wanting to do a show or anybody wants to talk to me. And we have a new, I'm going to forget everything I want to say. What was your name? Well, he goes by Chronic in chat, but it's actually Woody is going to join is in our Slack. And we talked last night, and he is down in Eugene and has a medical grower's license, which I didn't even know existed. And he knows a lot of other growers, and he works for a lot of other growers. And so I want to put together some kind of a cannabis show because I need to do something that is not this. And no, I've said that I was going to do other shows in the past too. Like, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Like Laura Livengood and I were going to do a radio show, but that really hasn't come together. And I think I need to take like the music concept and pare it down and put it in with the weed show. And maybe have like bowl breaks where we listen to a tune and everybody takes the time to go get high and then come back and do the rest of the show. I don't know, something like that. Show commercials while we're listening to the music. You know, make sure you buy these bongs or sponsored by Wild West Growers or I'm serious. You know, and
good.
I want to do it because it was really cool. And Woody and I were talking last night. He was the one who first said to me, you know, he told his story, and I'm going to let him tell his story because he's a vet, and there's a reason he's got his medical card, and it's a pretty powerful story. But he really described growing cannabis and breeding cannabis as a way of life. It's more. There's a philosophical component to it, right? Like a Japanese gardener, right? So and I agree with him in that, and it's part of my life. It's a big part of my life because I smoke cannabis for a long list of things, and so yeah, I'm excited about that. And Snorky Y2K would contribute to an energy show. That's cool. Darcy says, breaking, Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau has introduced a bill to legalize recreational marijuana in Canada. Yeah, he said they were going to do that. I'm glad he introduced the bill. Wonderful. Canada has good pot now. Wonderful. Wonderful. And Soul Rebel says, looking forward to watching this great idea. Wonderful. I'm glad, guys. I wanted to get your take on that, what you think, whether we should do that or not. Good idea. We're going to be doing more broadcasts. We're going to be more live streams. I hope that, you know, I'm looking to get in this other solo unit, and that could be shared along the West Coast, really. I don't think I have any solid contacts involved with politics other than Laura Livengood down in the California area that are like a reporting team. So if there's anybody down there that wants to be the reporting team, let me know because there's always shit going down in LA. But I want to use the solo unit for Oregon and then Washington. We send it up there. So we're ramping back up, and the reason I'm talking about this is because I want to say thank you to patrons, thank you to volunteers, thank you to the audience, Markus and Laura, and for everybody that has helped. We keep going, and every day I spend a lot of time worried about. Markus will tell you, like, where do we go? What do we do next? How do I just don't even know what to do anymore. But the fact that you guys are here is the reason we're still here. So
what we do is we are going. We are going the way.
Yes, we are. We are. Laura does rock the room. We are. So thank you all. We'll be out of here. We're way late. We're going to go out with something that a friend of mine from Longmont, Colorado, a guy named Henry, he's a friend of my dad's, sent this to me. There's really no relevance to anything. There's no music story time other than to say I love being introduced to new music. And this is a collaboration between what I believe is Middle Eastern, is a Middle Eastern musician named Dafer Yosef. And this is a live song called Winds and Shadows. And this is a collaboration with European classical musicians. And I think, I love when I see cultures bring their music together. Like in California, I don't know if you guys know this. In Texas, you may know this. In the Southwest, you may know this. Marcus, there's no way you know this. If you do, then I've blown my mind. But there's a particular style of music that has blended polka, like European Polish polka music with Mexican mariachi music. And I don't even know what the hell they call that music. But it is very predominant and very popular in California. You know this music, Marcus?
No, not to my knowledge, no. But it sounds very interesting.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of an interesting, cool music. It's like, and the biggest group I ever knew of that was I'm not gonna get their name right. El Tigre del Norte or something like that. The Night Tigers or the Norte. They were like the big rock stars in this style of music in Mexico, and so they have an accordion player. It's like they have guitar players and bass player and a drummer and a singer, but the accordion player is the star. And so the accordion player, instead of like the guitar player coming out and ripping a guitar solo, the accordion player gets out there and plays a fucking ripping accordion solo. It's the coolest shit. Not only that, but these guys are like, there's absolutely no, unlike America, where your rock stars are supposed to be hot and look in shape. These are just a bunch of old dudes with beer guts. But that's just the one band. Anyway, the collision of the polka music and the whatever mariachi music was you're like, what? Those two, but brilliant, cool music with funky beats and just fun to listen to. The Tigers of the North. Thank you. Yes, go look them up and watch their accordion player. He's like fucking Eddie Van Halen. He's it's amazing. It's amazing. Anyway, so that has nothing to do with this other than this is another one of those brilliant collisions of musical styles that just ended up being beautiful. And if nothing says human more than that's us. We do so much better when we work together. We do so much better when we create together instead of dropping big dick extensions on each other. We really do. See you guys tomorrow. And stay safe. This world's getting very dangerous and very tense. And as we change it to a less violent place, we're all in danger of becoming victims to that violence. So I wish you all to be safe. And we'll see you tomorrow on Awake. Thank you, Marcus. Always. Thank you.
Thank you, John. See you tomorrow, guys.
Here's Dafer Yosef, Winds and Shadows. We're going to listen to the first 3.5, 4 minutes of this. It's a rather long piece. The link is in the description, so if you want to hear the whole thing, you switch over to that.